Hello friends. In one of my last videos I did a cooling job refresh, so the only new thing that was introduced to the cooling system was the radiator and the distilled water that I added. The problem that I have now is when I'm trying to go and open up the bleed screw, there's 1,000 tiny bubbles that just keep coming out non-stop. This system is self-bleeding. I've never actually had this happen. So there are two things that could be causing it. Well, I guess three. Contaminated distilled water, something in the radiator that has something soapy, foamy that keeps coming out, or, thumbs down if it is the head gasket. So in this case it would not be the head gasket that's between the cylinders that would cause compression loss, but it's actually the head gasket that's between the cylinder and a passageway of where the coolant is. So doing a compression test would not really show this problem. But what I'm going to do, I've rented this kit from O'Reilly's 67094 combustion leak detector, and what this will do is, let's see, it's like a little funnel that creates a seal on top of the expansion tank, and there's a check valve that you use to suck the air out of there. There's a little fluid here. Special fluid. There's a different one for diesel, so make sure you get one for gasoline engine. You fill up this fluid up to a certain level, and then while the car is running, it needs to be hot because the thermostat needs to be open, so the coolant is flowing throughout the entire system. And then if this changes color from, you can see it's kind of bluish, to yellow or green, yellow probably, that means there's a leak. So what that would be doing is detecting, through a chemical reaction, detecting combustion gases in your coolant, which you never want. I've idled the car, I've ran the car on the highway, the car doesn't overheat, the heater gets hot, it doesn't misfire, has no other problems. Couldn't see any white smoke from the tailpipes, so it could be just the radiator. I mean, I don't know, but this could be one of those worst day scenarios, so to speak. If this does turn yellow, that means we got to pull all this apart and replace the head gasket. Or worse yet, there's a cracked, head or a crack on the block, right? So let's just hope this goes well. There should be a check valve at the bottom of this, so when I fill this just the way it is right now, it should hold. All right, so the fluid is kind of bluish. Let's hope it doesn't change to yellow. You can see by squeezing this thing, I'm actually pulling out air from there. You can see those big bubbles. Alright. Let's actually confirm that this works, that this will change to yellow. The way I'm going to do that, I'm going to go to the exhaust pipe, put it right next to it, and suck up a little bit of that air that's coming out of the exhaust pipe and see if this changes yellow. So let's go do that. So you see that is definitely yellow. So this thing works. So that was a piece of good news, which means I don't have to rip apart my head and replace the head gasket. But what it does mean is that I have some contamination in the entire cooling system. Water pump, thermostat, radiator, hoses, and the block. So now I'm just going to have to flush a bunch of stuff out, and I'll show how I do that. I'm going to disconnect the lower radiator hose and then connect the hose to a regular faucet in the front. Run it through as the water level in the expansion tank drops. I'm going to add some water from the regular hose. Just try to flush the whole thing out. And then as the final step, I'm going to get distilled water from the store and then flush the regular water out using distilled water plus the coolant. I was also thinking of just replacing the radiator back to the original one I took out. For me, this is real simple, as you remember. I don't have a fan here or a shroud or anything else. It's just 2 screws up top, 3 hoses, and 2 screws on the bottom that hold the oil on. And boom, look at all this room. All right.